Today we're in Mesa, Arizona, more specifically the city of Mesa Cemetery, where the final resting place of outlaw country singer Waylon Jennings is. The anniversary of his death is coming up on February 13th, and since we're out here in this area, it's a perfect opportunity to stop and pay our respects. And you guys are coming with us. Hopefully you're a fan of Waylon Jennings. If you're not, fingers and bones crossed that you'll be one after this video.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
The city of Mesa Cemetery really isn't that big. The hardest part about locating Waylon Jennings is the fact that it's pretty much a memorial cemetery, meaning the tombstones are laying flat on the ground. But we've gotten really good at locating things, so cemetery safari for us, which is what we call locating graves in a cemetery, usually happens very quickly. And Waylon Jennings, his final resting place is right over here. You see that white bouquet? That's for him. Probably the biggest stone in the cemetery. It's small, but it's a beautiful cemetery for sure. And there it is. The final resting place of Waylon Jennings here in Mesa, Arizona. Born June 15th, 1937 and died February 13th, 2002. It says, "I am my beloved's. My beloved is mine. A loving son, husband, father, and grandfather. A vagabond dreamer, a rhymer and singer of songs, a revolutionary country music, beloved by the world." That's really nice.
She was a flower for the taking, her beauty cut just like a knife. He was a banker from Macon, he swore to love her all his life. Bought her a mansion on the mountain, former garden and a lot of land, but paradise became her prison. A Georgia banker was a jealous man.
When it comes to country music, they definitely don't make it the way that they used to. Now, Waylon Jennings, everybody remembered him. Everybody knows him from his long hair, his beard, his cowboy hat. Sometimes he wore a leather vest, sometimes leather jacket, but he was pretty much the creator of outlaw country. Heck, in his later years, he was even in a band called the Highwaymen with him, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson.
From the world-famous Mirage in Las Vegas, Nevada, a special television event, The Highwaymen Live, with Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, and Chris Christopherson.
But did you know that Waylon Jennings actually got his start because of Buddy Holly?
Buddy and I, we had a great time together, and he's what I called an upper. He was always laughing.
Buddy was the first one really to take a big interest in Waylon. And in fact, he took him over to Clovis, New Mexico, and paid for his session. For somebody to do this, Buddy had to think an awful lot of Waylon.
When Buddy Holly signed on for a winter dance party tour in 1959, a dispute with his manager caused him to work without his regular band, the Crickets. Instead, he hired two new musicians to replace them, Tommy Alsop and Waylon Jennings.
So he came in and he threw this bass at me, and I caught it. He said, "You got 2 weeks to learn to play that thing." So I memorized, not learned, to play.
Buddy Holly pretty much took the young Waylon Jennings under his wing, got him a whole new set of clothes, and really tried to improve his image. He even got Waylon his very first recording session, and then he hired him to play bass on his winter dance party tour. Now, if you know anything about the history of Buddy Holly, you know he died in a plane crash during the winter dance party tour in 1959. 3 people were on that airplane. It was Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Ritchie Valens. Originally, Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on that airplane, but he graciously gave up his seat to the Big Bopper because the Big Bopper, he had the flu, he was sick, and he didn't want him traveling to the next concert venue on the bus without any heat.
Buddy had chartered this plane for me and him, and Tommy also.
Buddy had chartered the plane because he was miserable and the bus was freezing, wanted to fly ahead and get some laundry done.
The small charter plane that took off from Clear Lake, Iowa, headed for Fargo on February 2nd, 1959, with its intended cargo of Buddy Holly, Tommy Alsop, and Waylon Jennings, never arrived. Tragically, it crashed shortly after takeoff. Before the plane took off, Waylon was approached by J.P. Richardson, known as the Big Bopper.
He says, listen, said, would you mind me taking your place on that plane? He said, because said, I've had the flu, I'm sick, and I've got to get over there and get some rest. And I said, if it's okay with Buddy, it's okay with me.
Saved by an accident of fate along with fellow band member Tommy Alsop, who had given up his seat to Ritchie Valens, Waylon was still alive. But he was tortured by the parting remark he made to Buddy Holly at the airport.
Buddy Holly and Waylon Jennings were really good friends. And right before the plane took off, supposedly, rumor is that there was a bit of a friendly banter of exchange between Holly and Jennings. And keep in mind, it was a cold night, freezing night. The tour bus had absolutely no heat on it. There was even stories of the drummer of Buddy Holly's band getting frostbite on his toes. But before they loaded the plane to take off, Buddy Holly turned to Jennings and said, hey, I hope the tour bus freezes. And Waylon, without even thinking, turned to him and said, I hope the plane crashes. In less than an hour it did, at 1 o'clock in the morning.
And here I am, about 19 years old, and I said, yeah, well, I hope your old plane crashes. And God almighty, for years I thought I caused it, you know.
Now, can you imagine living with something like that? Telling your friend, hey, I hope the plane crashes, and then it does? Now, there's absolutely no way of knowing that it was going to happen. It was just a freak accident, a complete tragedy. Now, here's something I did not know until I started doing a little bit more research on Waylon Jennings. Now, everybody knows that he wrote the theme song to Dukes of Hazzard, but I did not know that he was the guy who narrated the show. Throughout, you can hear the narration. That's Waylon Jennings. Also, he was in an episode or 2 of Sesame Street. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Eventually, all the years of drug use and alcohol caught up with him, and he died at the age of 64 in his sleep from complications of diabetes. But man, the man has been through a lot. He was addicted to cocaine. He was able to kick that. He had a 6-pack a day cigarette habit. He was able to kick that as well. But with diabetes and a heart condition, he had his leg amputated here in Phoenix. And then he died at home, asleep next to his wife in Chandler, Arizona. What a story to tell, man. Country legend for sure. And with that being said, thank you for joining us on another Grimm adventure, this time to Mesa, Arizona, visiting the final resting place of Waylon Jennings. Now, if you've never heard any of his music, do yourself a favor after watching this, type in Waylon Jennings into YouTube and give it a listen. You might be surprised. He's been around for quite some time, lived quite a life, not all of it good, not all of it bad. It's just a legend. Nashville, legend. Country music legend. Country music outlaw legend.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.